All right, after a stressful and yet somehow hilarious week one against the Falcons, which the Saints won at the end of the game by kicking a field goal, getting called for. Well, let's just say that the field goal only happened because of bad officiating, and then Marshawn Lattimore made a bad decision, and kind of a laughable personal foul call was called, and then because the Falcons are the Falcons, the Saints blocked the kick. Because that's just how freaking Saints and Falcons games go. With that said, obviously next up is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the land of the soon-to-be divorced Tom Brady, the GOAT. Or at least he's been on the most good teams ever. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about the keys to victory. Just like last week, we're going to talk about our three keys to victory. Key number one, and this will obviously be consistent through most of the year, but may not be more true at any point in time other than against Tom Brady. The Saints must get organic pressure. The pass rush was non-existent last week. They almost never affected Marcus Mariota. There's, the theory that they were doing more of a mush rush and they were really just trying to keep contain and let him not hurt them with his legs. That worked and it didn't work. Now, other guys hurt them with their legs, but he didn't too much. So if that was the plan, okay. We're about to find out. The Bucs have a completely devastated offensive line. One of their tackles is probably he's either going to miss the game or he's going to be highly compromised. We'll see on game day. It's against the Saints. He's going to play. Cam Jordan and Marcus Davenport need to live in the backfield. They need to be hitting Brady a lot, especially because Paulson Adebo is out. Roby low-key got barbecued last week on the outside. He hasn't been good on the outside in actually quite a long time. And not having a Debo against Julio Jones could be a big problem if Brady has time. So just flat out, they need to beat him with 4 and occasionally 5. That's always been the formula for dealing with Brady. It definitely is this week. Key to victory number 2. They were bad against the run last week. They were bad on the defensive line. They were bad at the linebacker position. I think last game was a great example of the things they're going to miss with having traded CD for a bag of peanuts. He's an excellent tackler and an excellent player in the box for them. PJ Williams, when he used to play in the slot, that was one of his strong points. If this is a revenge game to a certain degree for Evans, if he's going to be the new slot guy, he's got to tackle. They've got to fill lanes. They've got to get to guys, especially a guy like Fournette. If you get to him early, he's really not going to affect the game much. If you let him pick up a head of steam and start rumbling downhill, he's going to pick up 8 yards, 12 yards, 20 yards. It's going to have a major impact. Also, Brady, not unique in this by any means, but in particular, when he has an effective run game, he's a completely different quarterback. And it's also, when he has an effective run game, it's much harder to get that consistent pressure on him. They must play the run better, period. The end. We'll see if they do, but they have to. If they are not able to pressure Brady and contain the run, then I fully expect this to be at best a shootout. But it could get ugly because that Bucs defense is really good, and that leads us to the third item, which is they've got to protect Jameis. Jameis played really well in the fourth quarter last week. I honestly do believe that Jameis is a gamer. Not that he's not smart, not that he can't read defenses, not that he can't help with the protections and stuff, but Jameis is more of a gamer type player. He's a play the matchups guy, less than a play the formations guy, throw to a spot guy like Drew is. They're just different quarterbacks and different talents. And honestly, the Bucs secondary is not really much to talk about. Carlton Davis is solid, but Juice and Mike can both beat him, and if they put Olave on him, he could be, Diggs level of crispy pretty quick. So, if they can protect for Jameis, I fully expect them to put up 20 plus, maybe even 30 plus. If they force a few turnovers, then I would be even more confident in that. But it all depends on them having a significantly better game protecting the quarterback than they did last game, both by the offensive line, but also by the running backs and the quarterback, of identifying pressures and knowing where things are coming from and calling them out and handling protections. And occasionally, in Jameis's case, throwing the goddamn ball away. Sometimes you just need to throw it in the dirt or throw it out of bounds and not lose 8 yards. Um, so if they can do those three things, the Saints have owned the Bucs these last few years. Really have owned the Bucs the entire time the Bucs have existed for the most part, other than like 2 random years where they won Super Bowls. Um, they haven't been they historically have not been good consistently, and have not been good for most of the last 20 years. And while they are good now, they're not great. They're not a juggernaut. They're certainly not unstoppable the way the media would have you believe, because they just have to insert all 4 inches of Tom Brady deep down their gullets. But that doesn't mean that the Saints can't lose this game. And losing Marcus Williams has an impact. If this defensive line can't get a pass rush, it has an impact. Um, they couldn't stop the run for anything last week. That's going to have an impact. And at the end of the day, not having a Debo and not having Marcus Williams and what that does to your defense, it may very well create openings for Brady. And as much as I can't stand the guy, if you give Tom Brady time, he will pick you apart. So, just to sum it up, you gotta get to Brady, organic pressure, 4 or 5 guys at the most. You've got to stop the run, or at least contain it. I don't care about the whole 100-yard rusher thing, but it's got to be on volume. If he's going to get to 100 yards, it needs to be on 25 plus carries. And if he's getting 25 plus carries, it's probably not a great thing for us, but who knows? Maybe Marcus Davenport eviscerates Tom Brady, and then the backup's in there, and they got to run the ball all game. I don't know, but it cannot be allowing chunks like they were last week. That just cannot happen, and they got to protect Jameis. They do those three things, and I fully expect them to win. I predicted them winning before the season, and I have them winning right now. But they do need to do those three things. So hopefully you enjoyed this. We'll obviously do some post game content as well. If you don't follow the Saints Twitter podcast, you should. And if you do, you'll see me on there. Because I'll be on the live stream because I'm a member, because everything in there is fun as hell. So if you guys enjoyed this, like, comment, subscribe. It's always appreciated. And if you didn't, just go ahead and comment and tell me how much I suck, and I'll pretend that I care. Have a good one.